a Democrat heads up. Okay, there it is.
You got the cash, we want to use it.
You don't use it all weekend, it gets slow.
So we hope you'll understand.
Could be said for many things when you think about it.
Exactly why you're about to lose it.
Yeah.
When we win, do you remember how it used to be? The money you made, thought you'd get to keep it. Ha! Spread the wealth around. Don't you turn me down.
All right, let's do a little fact-checking before the DNC, as I said, goes down down the memory hole. Now, we had Malloy, who's the Democratic, this guy's a real moonbat. He's the Democratic head, he's the Democratic governor of Connecticut. Now, this is the guy that freaked out over Indiana's so-called Religious Freedom Act, when in fact his state had one that was even more restrictive. Anyway, so here's Malloy spewing at the DNC.
If Donald Trump's words are bad, and they are, his actions are worse. Just look at his vice presidential choice, Governor Mike Pence. He signed a law that would have forced women to hold funerals for fetuses, even in some cases after a miscarriage.
Say what? John McCormick from the Weekly Standard. Is that true?
It's not true. It's a lie, and a ghoulish one at that. This involved the response to this Planned Parenthood scandal that even Hillary Clinton called disturbing, whereby that organization was implicated in selling the organs of aborted babies. Ugh. And this was a response to this. So not a pleasant topic to discuss, but it's a lie, and it's something that needs to be called out.
And then there was Stephanie Schriock from Emily's List about equal pay.
Republican leaders oppose equal pay for women.
Hold it right there. Republican leaders oppose equal pay for women. No, they oppose the government's solution to that, which would lead to an absolute bureaucratic and legal nightmare. In the meantime, Ms. Emily's List, Hillary Clinton pays her staff, women, 70 cents on the dollar. Where have you heard that before? And so does Obama in the White House. But that's not going to stop her.
Republican leaders oppose equal pay for women and refuse to stand up for working mothers trying to balance career and family. That's why they'd let your boss fire you for using birth control.
What? Is that true?
No. I mean, everyone knows that the issue with birth control doesn't involve bosses firing people for that. It involves cases where the federal government is trying to force religious groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor to pay for birth control in violation of their religious conscience. So, if they could find a single person in America who'd been fired for birth control, they'd probably prop them out and pass a law to ban that, but sure. I don't think that they can provide a single example of that.
Okay, well, there's Hillary on guns, too.
I'm not here to repeal the Second Amendment. I'm not here to take away your guns.
Okay, is that true?
Well, maybe she's not going to take away your guns, but I think her Supreme Court nominees certainly would in many cases, that any democratically appointed Supreme Court justice is going to be in favor of repealing or overturning the Supreme Court decisions finding that you had a right to own a handgun in cities like Chicago or D.C. If Hillary Clinton gets that fifth Supreme Court justice on there, I think that the rulings might be overturned, very likely.
Yeah, and then there was Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi at the DNC.
So many times white.
By the way, she's explaining why it is that white male voters are going for Trump. All right. Here's her analysis.
So many times white, non-college educated white males have voted Republican. They voted against their own economic interest because of guns, because of gays, and because of God, the 3 Gs, God being the woman's right to choose. Okay,
Rick Grinnell, Fox News contributor.
Well, look, I think it's because of comments like Nancy Pelosi. She is the representative from San Francisco, the place originally where diversity and tolerance was born. It's so sad how far we've fallen. Yesterday's champions of diversity have become today's intolerance. They look at just race and gender, and they don't think about ideological differences. I got one thing to say to Nancy Pelosi. I'm Harvard educated, I'm a Christian, I'm gay, I'm pro-gun, and I'm a conservative.
There you go. So take that, pineapple princess. All right. One more cut here. This is the media orgasm that occurred right after Hillary accepted the nomination.
Hillary Clinton needed to deliver a very strong speech, and she certainly did tonight. For nearly an hour, she offered very specific proposals. She repeatedly ridiculed Donald Trump and his ideas. She embraced so many of Bernie Sanders' ideas. She laid out a specific plan. She's celebrating up on the stage, Jake, with her family and with Tim Kaine and his family, her vice presidential running mate. History was made. She has now accepted the nomination of a major political party in the United States. First time in American history a woman has done so.
96 years after women got the right to vote, we are marking this historic occasion where a woman finally has been able to achieve what many others before Hillary Clinton have attempted.
You know, this whole thing about Hillary Clinton breaking the glass ceiling is an absolute crock. Hillary Clinton didn't break the glass ceiling. She didn't do this on her own. She did it because of who her husband was. If it hadn't been for Bill Clinton, you wouldn't even know the name Hillary Clinton. And in the meantime, the idea that she broke the glass ceiling? Remember the superdelegates? Yeah, Bernie remembers the superdelegates. Hillary didn't break any glass ceiling. The corrupt DNC helped Hillary find a way around the glass ceiling.
It's really quite a moment in history.
Hillary Rodham Clinton has laid claim to the Democratic nomination as the hall is going a little crazy with confetti, balloons, and beach balls the size of Andrea Mitchell falling from the rafters. And while it is impossible to view this nominee without the prism of our current divide, of our current politics, can we not take a moment to culturally take stock of the fact history has been made tonight. It is now possible to have a woman president at long last. And if that woman is this woman, the fact that she once lived in the White House will just be a more interesting Wikipedia entry further down the page.
You know, all this stuff about now it's possible, it's finally possible for... Hey, listen. 30 years ago, I would have voted for a woman if it was the right one. Where is this? You know, this whole thing is predicated on the idea that there's been some kind of a conspiracy to keep women from rising in politics. Are you kidding me? Now, they're all celebrating it's been 96 years since women got the vote. Yes, women's suffrage. Could I say something to you guys in the media? Women's suffrage. Women getting the vote. Remember the marches and all that? Do you remember who opposed that? Do you remember who spoke out against that? Do you remember who filibustered against that? It was the Democrat Party. Yes, the Democrat Party was against women's suffrage.